like to do is if we could, give us a brief synopsis, Montgomery, and what it looks like now, and what historical significance do you have in the area that we could probably go find some really cool, neat historical things.
Well, my name's Les Thomas, and I'm the president of the Montgomery Historical Committee, and also president of the Fayette County Historical Society. So, being based here in Montgomery and having to, Montgomery is a wonderful community. It was incorporated in 1893, and since then, it's been the hub of coal mining, trains, as we've seen with the trains going by right through the middle of our town. Also river traffic, and then just the local history of people would actually live. Well, they worked in the coal mines up the hollers of the surrounding area. They would catch a train, which was the mode of traffic, the way of travel, and they would come to on Fridays and Saturday nights. The miners would flood Montgomery, and they'd be, well, we're talking 1,600 people now. You're looking for 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people. There were several hotels, 2 or 3 movie theaters, and enormous amount of bars. Mm-hmm. So the miners, this is where they came from miles around, from 20, 30 miles around, and they would stay the weekend, spend their money, and then they would go back and work all week in the coal mines. So, Montgomery was kind of the hub. You hear about Thurman and Fayette County, and the New River Gorge, but Montgomery was one of the go-to places. There was shootings and stabbings and all that in the early years, but Montgomery's has through the years has calmed down. It's a good place to live. Still is rich in history. So now the history that we've had here in the last 50 years has been, our school, which is now gone. But, there were a lot of people came and were associated with West Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So
before the 1890s, you had a lot of movement up and down this river. And I know that one of the places actually that we're going to go to was the swimming hole, which was close to where they had to tear down the locks and dam. And you were mentioning that the lock keeper's house is there still. And
It's
there's some
on,
still
it's on
things
the
there.
opposite side of the river, yes.
Wow.
And
My-
there's some company stores.
That's it.
One of them is probably not accessible because now there's a Dollar General and it's been paved.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a company store and an old gas station that was there years and years and years ago that is up at Carrollton Hollow, that we could go up there. And I did, the property owner said, go look and see what you can find. So we could go there. And, as we've talked, we'd like to maybe try to find a time capsule that was buried years ago. We know about where it is, and I think it does have some metal in it. That if we could find that would be a great contribution to the community.
Oh, yeah.
And then if we locate it, we'll certainly get the community out and we'll get it opened up. See
Oh,
what's
that'd be
in it.
great. Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. But there is a lot of coal history here. The lock wall was donated by the Secretary of War to the city of Montgomery in 1938. So anything before that, and what's pretty unique about it is I don't believe any of that land has been disturbed since the locks were taken out of the river. And especially on the lockmaster's house side. This side may have it's had years and years, and it was a public pool, and it was an armory at one time. So there probably is maybe some ammunition that you might find around there. But it has a lot of history there, and it's accessible.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
What's some of the stuff you guys have found around, just poking around?
well, I built my backyard out. I live on the Kanawha River, and in cleaning out some of the river in front and putting that dirt in my backyard, I found old shoes, and a piece of a pistol.
Really?
Came up out of the river, who
Wow,
knows,
that's-
who knows what the
oh,
story is with
Yeah.
that. But, I'm just trying to think some of a lot of glass stuff, old, what
There
was
was
it,
a
Berry?
there was a Fed Ice and Bottling company that was here in Montgomery, and I've got several of the bottles. I was gonna bring one or two of them.
Oh, they have
But
embossed.
They have, yeah,
stuff
it's,
on 'em?
well,
Yeah.
actually, they had their own brand of cola, but it was Fed Ice and Bottling, and it was Fay Cola is what the name of it.
Oh, okay.
But the bottle was, they're about this tall, and it says Fed Ice and Bottling Company, Montgomery, West Virginia on it. There's several different types of those. We found, we were cleaning up the road above the Montgomery Bridge here about a month or so ago.
Forgot about that fight.
Yeah, one of those bottles had actually come out of, people would actually just throw their trash out the door and and just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of those bottles that actually rolled out of that debris from up on the bank and was down on the bottom. We found that it's perfectly intact.
Wow, man.
Also, there's Mary Ingles Trail that is up on top of the mountain. There's an ancient site at the mouth of Kimberly Holler where it's documented in the book Cabins at the Loop. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but there's an ancient wall that was built like a half a mile around, and that's something that maybe possibly, and also there's the Civil War cannon, the lost cannon of Cotton Hill. I don't know if you heard about that.
I have.
Okay, that's up this side of the river about 4 or 5 miles. So you talked about Civil War. You find a lot of bullets. I found some bullets, just like you were talking about, in my yard down here in Montgomery. So there's a lot of stuff here in Montgomery, and all the time we're getting, as we're doing construction and doing work, you're finding little things that come up. A lot of glass bottles. I found one bottle from basically made just like that Fed Ice and Bottling Company bottle. It says Montgomery Confectionery Company, and there was a little store where you bought syrup back in the 20s to mix, and you made your own cola.
Wow.
And I did forget, there is a site here it's a historic black church, on the hill. And I don't think any of that's been disturbed really from
Well, there-
years ago.